this is an informational webinar about Advise Tennessee. This is a new initiative that is a partnership between the Tennessee Higher Education Commission and the Office of Governor Bill Haslam. The heart of the initiative really is driven by the Drive 55. The Drive 55 is kind of, in a lot of ways, the guiding star to much of the work that we're doing here at the Tennessee Higher Education Commission. And as you know, the Drive to 55 is Governor Bill Haslam's initiative to increase degree attainment across the state to 55%. And so that speaks to college access and completion, both with traditional age students and adults. So really, we think about the work that we do here at THEC and in the Office of P16 Initiatives through that lens. So THEC, for those of you who don't know, is a state agency that serves as the coordinating board for higher education in the state of Tennessee. In Tennessee, we have two systems of public higher education, the University of Tennessee system, the Tennessee Board of Regents. THEC serves as kind of the coordinator amongst those two entities. And we do that as a policy entity, higher education funding. So for instance, when the General Assembly makes an allocation to higher education to fund higher education, THEC has a formula that looks at the outcomes that are happening on campuses to allocate which campuses receive how much appropriation. Academic program approval lives here at THEC. Tuition recommendations, data analysis, program development, capacity building. This really is in the the core competencies of the Tennessee Higher Education Commission. Within THEC, there is an Office of P16 Initiatives, and that's the office that my team and I, the work that we do, we are animated by this idea that every Tennessean should have the opportunity to pursue higher education. With that kind of understanding and that guiding principle, we create resources and programs that transform college aspirations into reality. And so some of these initiatives you'll be familiar with, some of them you may not. Gear Up Tennessee is an initiative where we're working in 15 communities across the state to increase college-going rates. Great partners there, seeing fantastic success that we will talk about here in a little bit. collegefortn.org, the college and career web portal. We're in the process of updating that. That should be coming live in the coming weeks. Path to College, this started out as College Application Week and has grown to include college planning nights, college signing day. We are also partnering with the Tennessee Student Assistance Corporation, the Tennessee Department of Education, along with a variety of nonprofit organizations across the state, the READY program, Tennessee Achieves, the AIRS Foundation, to implement a new FAFSA initiative starting this fall. Many counselors across the state will be attending one of the 9 regional meetings that we're going to have in the coming 2 weeks. And so again, this is the work that we do. And finally, I will put a plug for the Tennessee Promise Forward. While we focus traditionally a lot on college access, we are also building capacity through grants to community colleges to better serve students once they get there. So you work in the K-12 space for 13 years to get students ready to make a transition to post-secondary education into life. We're trying to build some additional capacity that once students leave your high school and enter a community college, that the services and supports are there to make sure that they persist to a credential or a degree of some sort. So this is what the Office of P16 Initiative does broadly. And most recently, we have the opportunity to implement a new initiative called Advise TN, which is obviously the reason that you are on the call today. So to kind of get started, I wanted to give an overview of the program, and let me go ahead and lay out what my goals are for this call. I want to give you an overview of the program, the selection process that we will go through in order to find our partner high schools, and I will go to a pretty fair amount of detail of the application process. I want you to walk away really understanding the essence of the program and kind of how we plan on proceeding over the coming months. So Advise Tennessee will serve 10,000 plus juniors and senior students across Tennessee. So we're going to do that by partnering with high schools, which we'll talk a lot about here in a little bit. But the human capital aspect of this is that there will be 30 college advisors that will be hired across the state. They will be trained. They will be focused on one thing: helping students enter and succeed in higher education. We're looking to distribute the advisors across the state with an ideal ratio of one advisor to approximately every 350 senior students across the state. We'll talk more about that. There might be some places where that ratio is a little bit less, a little bit more, depending on the size of the school that we're partnering with. But the partnership with the school is key. The Advise Tennessee College Advisors will be placed in partner high schools that have articulated a strong commitment to building a college-going culture. We will be selecting schools through a competitive bid process, and we're asking for a 3-year commitment from these schools pending the availability of funding. And so we're going to talk about that partner piece a lot because I think it undergirds this program in a very significant way. The advisor services will be rooted in research and best practices sourced from Tennessee and around the nation. We look at the work that we've been doing with Gear Up and other programs. We're going to look at national models like the National Advising Corps. We're going to look at the AIRS Foundation, the Niswonger Foundation. We're bringing all of those best practices to bear on building a program that best serves students and best partners with schools. So our theory of change, and I think this is really important and from our perspective kind of understand how we think about this. The root of all of this is a committed partnership between Advise Tennessee, the Tennessee Higher Education Commission, and a school. This isn't THEC coming in to do college access work for the school. We're adding some additional human capital, but we're looking to partner with schools. There's great work that's happening across the state, be it college advisors that are in schools or school counselors. There are folks who are doing amazing work around college access and success. But we know, just looking at where we are as a state, we've made a lot of progress with the Tennessee Promise, but there's a lot of work yet to do. And so we want to partner with schools and expanding everyone's capability and capacity, really, to do more of this type of work. And so that partnership piece is very important. In terms of the activities, which we'll go into more detail with, but there's this aspect of individual advising, research-based interventions, and data tracking. We are going to talk a little bit about the metrics that we're going to be looking at in terms of Advise Tennessee. They really are the metrics you would expect. College application, for instance, FAFSA completion. We want to make sure that there's someone who can provide assistance in knowing where every single student is in a partner high school in the pipeline. So who has filled out a college application, who is not? What are the interventions that could be put in place so that we can help that student complete that college application? Same thing with scholarship applications and FAFSAs. So the data tracking piece will be really important, and that will not be a benefit just to the Advise Tennessee advisor who would be at the school, but also with the partner high school, making sure that the school we want to provide as much data that would be helpful for the school in thinking about the programs that they offer at that building. And then the end result is, we hope, is going to be, and we anticipate, would be increased student outcomes, building a college-going culture, and then ultimately building a framework of sustainability of this work within the partner high school over the long term. So this is kind of how we think about this work going forward. Just a real quick proof point that I think that kind of speaks to our experience of how this can work and the outcomes that are possible. We are currently implementing the second Gear Up grant for the state of Tennessee. In the first Gear Up grant from 2005 to 2011, we saw a 10.7 percentage point increase in college-going rates. Many of the schools that we partnered with were well below state averages. By the end of that grant period, had far exceeded the state average in terms of college going. So while we saw across the entire grant a 10.7 percentage point increase, there were high schools that saw increases of over 20 percentage points over the life of that grant. The current Gear Up grant serves 13,500 students per year. This last year we realized FAFSA completion rates increasing over 20% since the beginning of the grant. We had one high school who had FAFSA filing more than 90% of seniors, and then a 5% increase in college-going rates. And I will say this project works with a cohort of students starting in middle school all the way through, but then also high school seniors each year. This will look completely different with Advise Tennessee in that all of the resources will come to bear on the juniors and seniors within a school. So I would anticipate seeing similar outcomes with this new project. So school partnership is key. At its very core, Advise Tennessee is a partnership between THEC and the partner school. When we think about that, we're thinking a lot about these kind of statements. What can we accomplish together? We know that there's great work that's happening, and we're not looking to replace that great work. It's kind of to say, what is the great work that's happening? Where are the gaps? And how can we mutually come together to fill in those gaps so we better serve students? And we know that every school is unique. Every school there are nuances to your schedule. There are nuances to the community's view around higher education. Every community has different feeder colleges that students are going to, and we want to come in partnership and understand those nuances and work with the school staff to make sure that we're moving this topic forward in a way that is mutually exciting to both the school and to Advise Tennessee. Again, to reiterate, we're looking to supplement, not replace the great work that's happening, and we want college advisors as part of the team. This is not a program where we're looking to partner with the school, that there's an advisor that is working independently of the rest of the school staff. It's working collaboratively to kind of make sure that, that we're coming together and not duplicating, maximizing what we could do together. And the framework really is to build a school-wide culture of college going. And when we do that in schools across the state, we really do expand the statewide culture of college going. So this partnership aspect of this work is extremely important to us, and will show through when we get to some of the commitment aspects of the program. So in terms of metrics, these are the metrics that we plan on having the Advise Tennessee college advisor partnering with the school, what we will manage and kind of keep up with. Some of these things many schools already do, and that's wonderful. But we will want to supplement where we can. So we're looking at college applications, college acceptances, college enrollment, FAFSA completion, scholarship applications. You can read through the list. But kind of give you a picture of what this looks like when it comes FAFSA time. With the data that we have here at THEC, we want to be able to provide our college advisor and then also the school staff with a list of students in near real time of which students have and who have not completed the FAFSA. So that way, as a school community, a high school community, there can be some discussion about, okay, if there's, here's the list of students who have not yet filled out the FAFSA. What can we do as a community to bring some additional resources to help them move the needle to get that done? So again, we have data that we want to give back to schools and to better serve students. So these are the data elements that we will be looking to as success measures as we look at our partnerships with schools and the initiative statewide. Services. So this is just a snapshot of the types of things that we would envision Advise Tennessee advisors doing in partnership with school staff. One-on-one student advising, building out post-secondary plans through advising one-on-one workshops for students and families. Again, this, there's a mix across the state. There are schools that already do a college 101, let's say during the junior year. We have a statewide initiative called College Planning Night that kind of speaks to that. And so where that's happening, that's great. It's just another set of hands to help get that done. Where it's not happening, we would love to offer that the college advisor could be the person who organizes that in partnership with the school to get that done. Tennessee Promise application. I'm just looking at the numbers. We know that counselors across the state and schools across the state are doing great work here. But again, another set of resources to help get that done. College Application Week, FAFSA completion services, college fairs, scholarship applications. ACT preparation is something that many schools are doing this. I know the Department of Education is pivoting to this space. We're building that more out as a priority. But an Advise Tennessee person could help facilitate some of that in partnership with the school. College Signing Day, financial aid literacy, summer melt interventions, and then FAFSA verification assistance. And I will say that that last one is something that we saw statewide with the Tennessee Promise, which was a stumbling block for many students, navigating that process. This is someone who will be a 12-month employee who will be able to do some summer interventions that could help bridge the gap. And so we're excited about that aspect of the partnership. So in terms of kind of how this is going to work at THEC, and I think this will get to a little bit how we anticipate the program working in partnership with schools, is that we will have an Advise Tennessee program director that will be housed in our office here at the Tennessee Higher Education Commission. In each of the grand divisions, we anticipate having an Advise Tennessee regional coordinator. That regional coordinator will oversee a team of college advisors. The college advisors will be embedded in a partner high school. It'll be that college advisor who will partner with the counselors and teachers and administrators within the school. We're going to talk a little bit about like how we anticipate there to be like a semester-long work plan to kind of clearly articulate what what everyone hopes to accomplish as it pertains to Advise Tennessee in the upcoming semester, for instance. But the college advisor will be that point of contact. But also for administrators, while the college advisor will be reporting directly to a regional coordinator, the regional coordinator's jobs will be to be in contact with administrators to ensure that everything is going smoothly. If there's something that needs to be addressed in some way, the administrator will always have a direct line to a regional coordinator who can help resolve those things. And so we want to build support both for the staff that work directly with students and then administrators that have a contact so that this is a really smooth process and it runs very smoothly. So who is eligible? High school serving 9th through 12th grade students, and that's at minimum. We know that there are schools that are for instance, 6th through 12, and those are schools that would be eligible. So that's the first requirement. The second requirement is that schools have a college going rate less than the state average over a 3-year time period. And so what we did is we took the college going rates from fall 2013 through fall 2015, and we took an kind of a 3-wide picture average of those 3 years, and then that was 58.8%. So schools that had that 3-year average less than the 58.8% are eligible. If you go to the website there at the bottom, the tn.gov/tx/topic/advise Tennessee, you can pull down the request for proposals, and we have a list by county of all the high schools that meet that college going rate requirement. And again, if you have any questions about this aspect of it or any of these pieces, feel free to ask on the webinar, but also my contact information will be made available at the end of the presentation. So those are the 2 requirements of who is eligible to participate in the program. The partner school selection process. So unlike many programs, and I know that the Department of Ed is just wrapping up the Ready to Read grant process. We did the similar process when we chose our Gear Up counties. Oftentimes when there's a application, there is you're designing a program, and the scoring is based on the program that you've designed. What we're really asking for and trying to evaluate is a school's commitment to building a college-going culture and partnering with Advise Tennessee. And we're going to kind of unpack that in terms of the application here in a little bit. But that's really what we're looking for, is we're looking for schools who are interested and willing to partner with the program. We have a notice of interest that is due by June 3rd. That is not mandatory. It just kind of gives us an idea of where the interest lies across the state, and also gives us a contact that we can have so that when there are updates throughout the summer, that we can email those updates to the appropriate person in each high school. So to do that, you just log on to the Advise Tennessee website, which you'll get again here in a little bit. And there's an online form that you fill out. It'll take you no more than a minute. But that we are asking folks to please do that by June 3rd, so next Friday. Proposals are due August 12th. There's nothing about this timeline that is ideal for schools. We understand that. The budget was passed in April, and so ramping it up, so we wanted to make sure we give ample time across the summer for school administrators and school counselors to kind of think through kind of how this might work, and we want to engage in conversations with you to kind of think through that. But the application is due August 12th. And then there's a 2-part review process. We will have readers that will have a mix of college access, school counseling, and other kind of areas of K-12 education experience who will score the proposals based on the commitment that has been articulated. From that, we will select a group of schools to do team meetings with. We will hold those team meetings between August 24th and 31 in 2016, so this upcoming fall semester. Those team meetings, what we're asking for is that a school administrator, the principal, and a school counselor at minimum are the 2 individuals that come, but we would invite other people who, based on your school's experience, kind of play into the college access work that's happening in the school, lead faculty and others, to kind of have a team meeting, because we want to be really clear and want to hear from the schools that there's mutual commitment to the process and to the project. And so I think this is a great opportunity for us to kind of meet face-to-face with the folks that we may be partnering with, and to share kind of what our vision, to hear what the school's vision, and just to make sure this is a really good fit. I think once we find that fit, that's when we're going to be able to do the best work collaboratively. And so after the interview process, we would announce schools on September 6th, which is the Tuesday after Labor Day. So that's kind of the arc of the selection process over the summer. The request for proposals, and I think this will, as we go through the RFP, this will also make clear the kind of the nitty-gritty details of the program that might be helpful in thinking through this opportunity. The RFP and application packet are available at the website that you see there. It's on THEC's website, but we have a dedicated Advise Tennessee page. There are 4 sections: a cover letter, a school commitment to the Advise Tennessee partnership, school attendance information, and then letters of support. We've asked for a 10-page limit, excluding covered pages and letters of support. And again, the focus is on school commitment to building a college-going culture and partnering with Advise Tennessee. The application is due August 12th, and the application should be submitted to Melinda Dunn at melinda.dunn@tn.gov. I will say, when you read through the RFP document, it gives explicit instructions about the order everything should be in, the font size, where it should be sent. I mean, it's really clear. And I will say one of the things here that I just wanted to pause. When we think about this and being an initiative that is a statewide initiative, we want this to be, I think sometimes there are school districts who have a grant writing expertise and there's some school districts that don't. This is not about grant writing expertise as much as it is understanding what is going on in the school and are they interested and excited about partnering with Advise Tennessee, and how can we facilitate that happening. And so we really do want this to be a broad kind of piece. And let's see, let's go to the next one. So we have a question real quick. Would it be? So the question is, would it be advisable for one district to have a district-level person to be the contact during the summer, or are you stating it must be one from each high school? I think that, so the high school is the applying entity, and there would need to be an application from the high school. I think it would be okay for a school district, if the school district wanted someone to be the contact and kind of facilitate with that within the school district, that's fine with us, as long as it's really clear that it's the school district that's applying, and so the questions get to a point where they'll be really school district specific. But in terms of facilitating, like let's say in a large metro area, just to make sure everyone's on the same page, most certainly schools could designate one person as that point of contact. Okay, next screen. So the cover page, pretty basic. Basically, we're just asking for high school the information and district information. We are asking for a liaison to kind of be that contact. So again, we have the contact that we're asking for in the notice of interest over the summer, but once you apply, this is the person that we will then write back say is, congratulations, you are moving to the next level in terms of doing the team meetings, for instance. And so we just want to know who that person needs to be. It could just be the principal, and if that's the case, then you don't need to fill in that piece. And then we would want to have a principal signature and the signature of the director of schools. But again, just to emphasize, this wouldn't be where a district that has 5 high schools would submit one application for all 5 high schools. It would be that each of the 5 high schools submit their own application and then respond to the questions specifically addressing kind of what's happening in their building. So the next section, if you were to look at the RFP, really gets to the school's commitment to building a college-going culture and partnering with Advise Tennessee. So in this section, we're looking for applicants to outline the school's commitment to increasing the number of students who access and succeed in higher education. So the questions that we're asking are like, how could, based on the needs that are unique to that school, how could Advise Tennessee potentially address those needs? What existing student services are already there? So what are the great things that you're already doing in your building, and how might those excellent initiatives be in good concert and partnership with Advise Tennessee going forward? And then also, how will the entire school committee support efforts to improve college-going rates? And then how will school staff partner with the college advisors? I think that piece is just really key. And if you look at the rubric, that really is the area that's weighted most heavily. Is like how does all of this stitch together? and so that we are partnering to move the needle around college going within that community, within that school, and then ultimately within the state. One-on-one advising is a key piece of this, and so there are obviously challenges in terms of doing that in terms of academic time, the restraints of individual school counselors, which looks exceedingly different based on the school. And so one of the things that we're asking is that we do want to have some time for juniors and seniors to sit one-on-one with someone. It could be the college advisor, it could be the college advisor partnering with school counseling staff, it could be another staff member, but to have like some conversations about their post-secondary plans and to kind of think through what are the steps that the student needs to, what they need to do next. How will that be accomplished within the school? Is it that there's an advisory period within your school where that could work, or is there some way to leverage RTI squared time in order to drive that home? It's going to be different for every school, and so what we're really asking for is kind of a picture of what that might look like. Office space, so this is one that I think administrators get nervous about because we just know that most schools are strapped for office space. This is not an office with a with a big window. This is, we want to have designated space that is appropriate for an individual to work one-on-one with students. Ideally, in a perfect world, that will be an office, but as long as it's a designated space that in some way is secure where there can be some conversation, I think that might look different in different schools. It could be part of the counseling office. It could be somewhere else. It could be different in every school, but I think what we're looking for is for just some designated space that has access to things like a printer and a phone. And I will say too, Advise Tennessee, THEC will be providing the computer for this individual and other kind of technology and supplies, those kinds of things. And so that's not something what we're looking for a school to provide. Also in section B, there's a chart that basically lists a list of commitments. And I kind of summarized those here. I'm going to go through and tick through them just so that I can address any questions there might be. So we're asking each school to designate an Advise Tennessee liaison. That could be a principal. It could be a school counselor who works with seniors, for instance, to kind of be the primary point of contact. It's not this person's job to oversee the Advise Tennessee advisor. It's just that's who their kind of point of contact and partnership will be. We're asking schools to work with our staff to develop and implement an Advise Tennessee work plan. And so that will look at, so for the coming semester, so let's say in the fall, we know that FAFSA completion is, we're now going to be able to fill out FAFSAs in the fall, starting this year. If that is one of the metrics we want to move, which it is, what's already happening in the school and what can the Advise Tennessee person do to supplement those things? If there's already a FAFSA night, maybe it is, it's just that we're extra hand. If there isn't a FAFSA night, that's something that we can organize in partnership with the school. So it's just making really clear at the very beginning of each semester what the school is doing in terms of these metrics, what Advise Tennessee is doing, and what everyone's responsibilities are. I think that anytime there are clear expectations, there's clear accountability, and we want to be very clear about what we're doing in the same way. We want to be very clear about how we're partnering with you. So I think when we're all clear on those things, we can all be accountable to one another. Allowing time for one-on-one advising, partnering with Advise Tennessee staff and arranging and allowing students to attend at least one college visit. Path to college events, implementing those. We talked about that. College Act Week, College Signing Day, College Planning Night, and Tennessee FAFSA Frenzy. Providing workshops, college one-on-one type workshops or informational workshops about financial aid. There's some of those things, again, schools may already be doing, and that's great. We can just help in any way make sense. But if they're not, we'd love to plug in there and help those things get done. We are procuring a text messaging platform. There's a lot of research around providing nudges to students. Nudges to students around summer melt and key details along the kind of the pathway towards transitioning to post-secondary education. So we are buying a text messaging platform, and we're asking for schools to partner with us in implementing that. There will be a memorandum of understanding to understand kind of, who is, just make sure that we are clear with kind of everyone's responsibilities, data sharing agreements. and evaluation aspects, just so we can do some continuous improvement, and also that we have the appropriate student data that we need to better serve students, and that we're giving you back data that might help you better serve students as well. The establishment of a college access steering committee, basically a group of people both internal to the school and external. The Advise Tennessee advisor can coordinate this, or if there's something already existing, we can plug into that. But basically to bring in community partners to kind of look at, okay, you know, someone from the Chamber of Commerce, for instance, you know, this is kind of what we're trying to do in terms of college going, and to see how those partnerships can better enhance what's happening in the school around Advise Tennessee and the great work that's already happening amongst the school staff. School counselor professional development. Part of this is we're going to be doing ongoing PD for our college advisors, and we'd love for a school counselor to come, and we'll offer that at no cost. The school will need to provide costs for like travel to get to the PD within the state of Tennessee. So like a day-long workshop, we'll be bringing an expert on college match, for instance. And we want PD to be both advisors and counselors working together and thinking through how they could apply that professional development to the school setting. There is also an annual principal and liaison workshop that will be one day in Nashville, where principals come. You know, roll out kind of the initiative and think through kind of aspects of the program. And then finally, we're looking for the advisor to be a member of the team. Advisors in a perfect world, we'd love to see where advisors will be able to go to faculty meetings, for instance, and really be incorporated into the school culture. And I think that's really important. This is where I think this will distinguish the initiative from projects where like an entity comes in and they're separate and they're kind of like working independently. We really want this to be stitched into the fabric. And you know, the school counselor in partnership with the advisor, however this works out, could look different in every school, but sharing out the outcomes, you know, so the school staff knows you know, where the school is in terms of meeting key benchmarks and getting more students to go to college. Because what we know from research is that when an entire school is kind of wraps their mind around this topic and are encouraging students to go, that's when we see increases in student outcomes. Yeah. So there is a question about funding assistance for college visits. So for instance, if a school wants to take a group on a visit, so that's something we're still working out the aspects of this in terms of, you know, the liability of students and those kinds of things. And so I think part of what we're going to look to do as we kind of get this off the ground is to think through in partnership with each school about what is possible and where the gaps are, because I think there's nothing, and we can see this from our work, and I'm sure you've seen it as well, there's nothing more powerful than getting a student on a college campus. I think it's only when they are on a college campus and kind of experience it that's when they can start envisioning themselves there. And so we think it's really important, but we need to think through some of the aspects of how we logistically make that happen. But we're really excited about partnering with schools to think through that on a school-by-school basis. So Section C is school attendance information. And so basically what we're asking for are the number 11th and 12th grade students in the entire 9th through 12th population at a school for the most recent academic year and what you anticipate for the next academic year. I do know that the anticipated number is sometimes a little bit of a kind of looking at tea leaves kind of an exercise, but it kind of gives us an idea of kind of what the future might look like, and so that we are appropriating the right amount of resources to the right number of schools. And so I got an email this morning. It's like, you know, there's 2 schools that were emerging, and the next year's attendance will be much larger. I think that's fine. I mean, I think that's why we asked for the anticipated number, and I think it's absolutely acceptable that if there are unique circumstances that need further explanation in the application packet, to put a note below this chart would be absolutely appropriate to give context to these numbers if there's something that's not just obvious by looking at the chart. So Section D are letters of support. So we are asking each of, so yes, great question. I'm going to go back to this because it's something that as I was prepping this, I thought as well. So school attendance information is a little bit misleading, and we will go ahead and update the application packet. It really is school enrollment information. Thank you, Bev, for asking that question. We are looking for the enrollment last academic year and anticipated for next academic year. So we will update that in our materials. It is enrollment, not attendance. Thank you. Good point of clarification. Letters of support. So we are looking for a letter of support from the director of schools, from the high school principal, and at least one counselor, school counselor, who works with high school seniors. But you are also encouraged to elicit additional letters of support from community partners and other key staff who will be participating in building a school college-going culture. And so at minimum, we're looking for director of schools, high school principal, and school counselor, but we welcome additional ones as well. We have provided a scoring rubric that is available in the RFP itself. The request for proposal document is at the end. It's attachment C. I think it really clearly articulates what it is that we're looking for in each of these sections, and will provide a lot of guidance, I think, to those schools that are interested in pursuing this project. Again, it is available on the website. So key dates, the Governor's Office released the press release of the initiative and the proposal last week. Submission of notices of interest, we'd like to have those by June 3rd. The deadline to submit a proposal is August 12th. And then we will be notifying schools about their selection for team interviews on the 22nd. And then we will do team, and I will say this too, we would anticipate doing these interviews regionally across the state. We're not going to ask teams to come to Nashville. I can envision us going to Knoxville, for instance, to do the Northeast kind of Tennessee area, Chattanooga, major metros. And so based on where the schools are, we'll flesh out those details, but these will be done regionally, and they will take place between August 24th and August 31st. We will announce the selected schools September 6th, and then there's a mandatory principal workshop in Nashville September 21st. And then the advisors would start providing services in the school mid-October, just in time for the new FAFSA. I will say this too. So this is kind of getting a program off the ground like this is just, it's a bit of a puzzle. So we're looking for schools at the same time that we're going to be looking for advisors to hire. I think that there would be nothing better for the college advisors that we hire to come from the communities that they will serve. So we are hiring a program director and 2 to 3 regional coordinators to manage those college advisors across state, and then there are the 30 college advisors themselves. I would encourage you that if you are a school that has an interest in applying this and you know that there are individuals who would be excellent fits for this type of work, and we have job descriptions that are available on tn.gov/chhec/topic/advise-Tennessee. But I feel free to share those job postings, and there's an application for those advisors, because again, in our mind, the partner school piece is so important in terms of finding the right school, but finding the right advisor is equally important. And we'd love to find those people within the communities that they will serve. And so we invite you to share those job postings. So with that, I'm going to, here in a minute, we have another question, a couple questions on the chat board. I will answer those, and then I'm going to open up for additional questions via phone. But I did want to highlight, here's my contact information. This is my direct line. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. So, So our schools who will be brand new next year, will they be eligible to apply? Rebecca, I'm going to have to think about that question. I think that there are some, and I might give you a ring because I have your contact information just to learn more about the question. And I will say, based on the questions that we received today and what we will be, I'm sure receiving, we'll be putting out an FAQ that when we update it, we'll send out something to everyone who's registered for a webinar or send in a notice of interest. I think that's a topic that we're going to need to talk about a little bit more. I think that the underpinnings of this project is that we're looking at schools that, based on its requirement, that don't have a college going rate that is above the state average. But could there be an argument where they're pulling from schools like if a new school is pulling from schools that have less than the state average in college going. So let us think about that, and I may be reaching out to you to kind of learn more about the question. Okay, so so the question about giving an idea of the amount of time that will be necessary by committed schools to the program. And so I think that that's going to look different in different schools, and I think it's going to be, I mean, so let's talk about the school counselor position. The school, we know that, so part B to that question, we are sure. So I mean, I think for the administrators, I think the partnership will really be, in terms of the college advisor, will really be with a school liaison. And that's going to look different in different schools. And so in some places, that's going to be an administrator. But in a lot of places, I would envision it being a school counselor, with an Advise Tennessee college advisor and a school counselor working on a team. We know the school counselor does so many things within a school context, but the college advisor is just working on the college access piece. And we know that's part of the portfolio of the school counselor. So it's those two individuals working together. So I think if there is a burden in terms of time and staff, it's really going to be in the partnership between the liaison, the college advisor, and who they're working with in terms of accomplishing these things. And then it's just kind of regular reporting to the administrator of how things are going. So that's going to look different in different schools based on how schools are structured and the level of involvement an administrator may envision. I mean, I think in a perfect world, the administrators would want to be really bought, not just bought into the program, but be involved. But we know that's going to look different in different places. There's a question about, will you have access to the PowerPoint? Yes, we will put this PowerPoint, a PDF version, on the Advise Tennessee website. What qualifications are there likely to be for the advisors? Degree, experience, licensure. Thank you for that question. So we are asking for all of the advisors to have at least a bachelor's degree with a master's degree preferred. We've also listed that we prefer folks who have experience in college access and in the education field. I do envision, however, though, that the advisors will come from a variety of different backgrounds. Yeah, so there's not a, thank you, a license requirement, but I think what may hold true with this happened in our GARUP work, is that many of our GARUP site coordinators ended up being licensed, certificated individuals. And so it's going to be a real mix across the state. Great. Let's read through the questions. So there's a question about, will there be tasks that a college advisor will not be able to do? Like clerical tasks, for instance. So I think that from our perspective, we want to be really clear about what this person is intended to do. I mean, they're to work diligently on the college-going process of students within a school. And so, yeah, we would not anticipate that these individuals, we would not want these individuals doing, for instance, like testing or proctoring tests. But, I mean, in terms of helping process students' information so that information is going to colleges, for instance, sure. I mean, that's something that we would do. As long as it's within the scope of the project, I think it's something that we're open to. And we also want these individuals to be integrated into the school. And I think that there are a lot of opportunities to build relationships with students by helping the school as it functions. But we would really want these folks to focus on the college access and success work. There's a question about, is Advise Tennessee intended to replace our partnering organization for Tennessee Promise? That is a great question, and I want to be really clear about this one. And the answer is no. This is a supplement to. So Advise Tennessee, so just a little bit of background, every county across the state, every county governor, or excuse me, county mayor designated who the partnering organization was going to be for that county. There are 3 of them in the state of Tennessee. Tennessee Promise, the READY Program, AIRS Foundation. This in no way is intended to usurp kind of what the important role that they play in terms of Tennessee promise. But it could be that, in the same way that school counselors across the state and others or administrators are liaison and attends, like the Tennessee Promise meeting that Tennessee Chiefs puts on, for instance, the 2 meetings that are happening in your school. We would anticipate the college advisor to attend those meetings and help support the work that the partnering organization is doing. So this is not to replace the partnering organization, but just being another point of contact within the school. I'm going to attempt to open up some of these, and so if you are, I'm going to unmute everyone. If you want to, you can mute yourself by putting *6, and if you don't want to speak, I would encourage you to do that. But in addition to the questions that folks are typing in, which we really do appreciate, I am going to go ahead and open up so that everyone could ask a question over their phone or computer. And as I do this, are there other questions that we could answer? Still clicking through, takes a little bit of a minute. And if you don't mind, please push *6 or mute your microphone on your computer if you don't want to speak.
Hey, Troy, I have a question. This is Beverly Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Beverly.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out the best way to ask this. It seems to me like this is of good research and data based on initiatives that have worked across the country, which is great. Yeah. So as someone who facilitates counselors, I don't know yet if our schools that are eligible to apply, if they are going to apply. So let's say that at least one of them might apply. Would I be able to have a role, just simply my interest in learning, working closely with the school as the project goes along, to be able to take those same practices and implement them in other schools? Because, I mean, my guess is research driven, and so it's going to work. So why not implement it in other schools without? So, in terms of how we look at our counselors and
Bev, just 1 second. If you don't mind, go ahead and mute. Everyone, mute your phone by let's see. So, Bev, are you still there?
Yes.
I think I got the essence of your question. So essentially, were you asking if a school, or let's say a school within your county, your school district were to participate, could there be involvement, in terms of from a district level to kind of look at what's happening and best practices that then could be scaled to the rest of the community?
Correct.
Yes, I think so. As excited as we are about Advise Tennessee, we're more excited about the things that we can learn through Advise Tennessee that we can share with the entire state. And so that is a perfect example of what we would love to partner with a high school, and then by proxy, like with a school district, to kind of like, here's what we're doing. We have an additional, person, FTE, to kind of do these things. And then what are the things that are particularly innovative or impactful within that school community that could be leveraged across all of, let's say, Knox County? That would be a perfect outcome from our perspective. We would love to partner with schools to think through those things. And part of what we want to do through our data collection and evaluation work is to provide that feedback not only to the school, but in partnership with the rest of the Advise Tennessee schools, but then with Lee Bagwell, with the Tennessee Department of Ed. We want to make sure that we spread the wealth here. We're excited about that prospect.
Great, thanks.
Are there any other questions that we could answer? Well, if you do have additional questions, you have my contact information. We will post this PowerPoint slide up on the TEC website, and once the video is processed, we will post that as well. We will try to edit out the 15 minutes of technical issues we had at the beginning. Thank you so much for your patience through that. and get that up ASAP. We're really excited about this at the state, and we're really excited about not just because of the impact that could happen with students, because we get to do that in partnership with excellent people in the field who are doing great work. And I think when we partner together, we really can change the lives of students, and we are excited about partnering with you and with your students to increase the number of students who are going to post-secondary education. So we are pretty excited about this work, and we thank you so much for your time.